Let's learn a little bit about the history of marijuana. If we're talking about United States is very much a newcomer to the marijuana scene. The plant, whose official genus is cannabis, is one of the world's oldest cultivated crops, which is origin going all the way back to the development of agriculture. In fact, in 1977, scientist Carl Sagan suggested that cannabis may have been the first cultivated crop in the world. Archaeologists believe that marijuana's use goes back at least 12,000 years. Cannabis probably originated in the area that is now Mongolia, but seeds dating back to 3000 BC have also been found in Siberia and parts of China, and mummified marijuana has been found in the ancient tombs of Chinese nobles. The oldest record of marijuana's medicinal use dates back to 4000 BC, when the plant was used for its anesthetic properties. By 1000 BC, cannabis had made its way to the Middle East and India, where it was prized for its ability to relieve anxiety. It was even mentioned in an ancient sacred Hindu text called the Atharva Veda, which translates to Science of Charms, where the plant was dubbed sacred grass. From South Asia, marijuana's popularity spread to the Greeks and Romans, and its value was as a medicinal plant really began to take hold. The Roman naturalist Pliny the Elder wrote of its analgesic effects in his book Naturalis Historia, or Natural History. The Roman army medic Dioscorides described medical marijuana in his Pharmacopoeia, the Materia Medica, or medical material. And the famous ancient Greek physician Galen often prescribed marijuana to his patients. Now, Arab traders took the plant south to the Mozambique east of Africa, and nomadic Indo-European tribes carried the plant farther west, where Vikings and Germanic peoples used it as a pain reliever for childbirth and toothaches. For hundreds of years, cannabis remained confined to the world's eastern continents until the 16th century, when Angolan tribes brought plants with them to Brazilian sugar plantations. Over the next several hundred years, marijuana enjoyed its increasing popularity within the Americas. By the 1700s, medical marijuana was used in New England, and by the 1800s, the plant was grown on plantations in many southern states, including as well as New York and California. Medical marijuana was even available for purchase through the United States at pharmacies and at general stores. After millennia of medical use, it seemed that this drug was poised to become a staple within the medical community. But if anyone can see from the decades-long debate over medical marijuana, things had not been that simple for the cannabis plant. Marijuana is not just medicine. There is more than one type of the cannabis plant, and the uses of different types go beyond medicine. Cannabis sativa is the plant that is known for its medicinal and psychoactive properties, but it is a subspecies called Cannabis sativa ale, the ale of course in honor of botanist Carl Linnaeus, and this one is more commonly known as hemp. This species of cannabis has little or none of the psychoactive properties of Cannabis sativa, making it much more useful for manufacturing products such as cloth and oil. Hemp's history, like that of its medicinal cousin, goes back to thousands of years. It was one of the first plants to be spun into a fiber, and these fibers had been discovered in pottery at archaeological sites dating back 10,000 years in what is now Taiwan. Around 6000 BC, the Chinese began using hemp seeds and oil for food, and over the next 2,000 years, they learned to weave the fiber into fine textiles. Rope made of hemp was commonly used through China, Russia, and Greece by 200 BC. But the Chinese, not only content to stop with rope and cloth, invented hemp paper, and eventually the Arabs learned this technique as well. The journey of hemp's usefulness followed the path of medicinal marijuana, with hemp rope soon showing in England and in other parts of Europe. Hemp cloth became popular as well, and not only with the common people, but also with the Merovingian queen Arnegunde, who was buried with his finest jewelry and wrapped in hemp shroud. Over the next several hundred years, hemp rope became standard of European ships, including those used on Christopher Columbus, and the fiber was in high demand. In fact, it was so prized that in 1533, King Henry VIII began fining farmers who refused to grow hemp for industrial use. The Spaniards introduced hemp to South America in the mid-16th century, and by the 17th century, the Puritans were cultivating the crop in New England. Even the first president of the United States, George Washington, grew hemp and encouraged the cultivation in the new country due to its industrial purposes. The plant became vitally important during World War II, when hemp was used to make uniforms, canvas, and rope. By the way, if the word canvas has a familiar ring to it, it's because it was derived from the word cannabis, the material first used to construct it. Our forebears discovered this amazing plant has so many uses. Hemp seeds are edible and can be used in breads and cereals and as a protein powder. They can even be used to create vegan milk or soups. The oil of the seed is useful for ink and paint, cosmetic, and for lotions. Hemp stalks produce the fibers that have been used for thousands of years to create clothing, paper, shoes, carpets, and rope. More recently, hemp has been even used to create building materials such as insulating blocks and plaster used in houses and composite panels used in automobiles. It is amazing what hemp and marijuana can add to our lives.